A long time no see, folks. So I'm back live again with my buddy Rick. Rick, how's it going out there in Austin, buddy? Or not Austin. I keep in Arizona. I keep thinking
Arizona,
Austin.
yes, yes. I haven't even been
How
to
you?
Austin yet. I gotta try that, but,
Yeah.
it's it's cold Arizona-wise. We've got freeze warnings at night,
What's
so
it?
we gotta
80?
cover our plants. We got
So
down to
what's
29, the other
holy
day.
shit? No kidding.
Yeah, yeah,
It
people
gets
don't
20s out
realize
there.
that. The desert can
I
get
know.
chilly. So, but hey, it's
We're here.
beautiful out there now. It's 70 degrees, so, that
God
happens.
bless you. I think it's 20 degrees here, and I just put in one of those Nest thermostats in my home. And my wife just called and said, it's about 50 degrees in the house right now, and the Nest is showing that the battery's dead. And I'm like, oh, no. But oh, well. So the reason why we're here, folks, is we want to let you guys know what's going on with real estate. So what we're starting to do is Rick and I have been talking in the background, and we both have kind of the same idea. We want to start talking with more and more realtors throughout the country. So Rick might even be my sidekick on some of these, which I'm just prompting him now because he's a fantastic guy. So if nobody knows Rick, he is our contact out in Arizona. Rick helps. So Rick, thanks for joining us again today.
Oh,
We
it's always
quit
good to be
bragging
here.
about your weather out there, and
Yeah, I won't
we
say
need
the
to
word.
know how business is going out there for you.
It is a challenge, and um everybody's always optimistic about January. Here it comes, new year.
Yeah,
Now we got a new president, and rates are going to
yeah,
go down. I've been the opposite of that.
really.
I've been saying, look, I don't think Q1 is going to be a gem. I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed when they see the numbers, and here's why. I think you always get an increase in the number of listings that come on board because it's a new year. It's January is seasonally when we see more listings. You probably don't see that in Chicago, but
Yeah,
I said I don't think the contracts are going to follow that because there's no catalyst for an increase in buyers. In other words, the cost of buying is going up, the cost of financing is going up. So we're at about 2,400 every 7 days. I said, I don't see anything changing that. And so far, 2 weeks in, I've been lucky. I've been spot on. Our listings are increasing and the buying is not catching up.
really. So are you seeing because of the listings going up and the dynamics you were just saying? Are you seeing deterioration in prices at this
Yes,
point yet? You are
yes,
okay.
yes.
So
Not
how's it
by
looking
leaps
on
and
you? You're the
there's
numbers.
okay, there's two parts of that when you say deterioration in pricing. Here's a surprising thing I found out looking at it this morning, and that is that, okay, the end of the year, December, we saw 2,300 expired listings, which is unbelievable. Usually we have like 700 and 750, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the year, everybody, they're expired. And so when they come back on, where are they coming back on in their pricing? They're almost like $3 a square foot higher than they finished the year. And I'm like, did you guys not read the memo? But we had these huge price cuts right in the very first week of January, though. 26, I'm looking at now, 2,633 price reductions the first week of January. So those that had their homes on the market through the holidays made the decision to lower their price for the first of the year.
No kidding. And that's still not. Here's what we see here in our market. Our market's been really stable. I'm a member of the Realtor Association out where I live, and I got some data from them not too long ago. And the area I live in, home prices are up 9%. Inventory's up. The amount of sales is down, not considerably, but the thing we have here is, as soon as a house goes on the market in a lot of these neighborhoods, they get gobbled up. And I was just talking to a realtor out in Seattle, Washington yesterday, and they're like, man, you put a house on the market here and it's gone in 2 days. So
Well,
that's
their
where
inventory
there's
dipped. They went down by 10%.
what's that?
Their inventory went down.
Washington.
Yeah.
Got it. So I don't know what's going on with there, but that was just a realtor that I talked to the other day. So
Yep.
that's why I really wanted to bring you on, because every market has its own dynamics, and you're the boots on the ground out in your area. So let me get to the one piece of the puzzle that a lot of people might be asking is, how is the fires out in California? Are you going to see a lot of inflow from that? Those, what's happening out there right now? Do you think?
I don't think so, and if so, it's going to be a while. Right now, it's just a chaotic mess.
Yeah.
It's highly localized. I did spend the weekend just worried as hell about my son. He lives in
Yep.
Van Nuys. They packed up because they got a false alert that they might have to evacuate, and their system just spit something out for the whole county. And he was still 5 miles from the fire, but my advice to him is, and he's a resourceful guy. I don't ever have to give him much advice. I just said, just don't be that guy that only got out with his laptop and his cat.
Yeah.
So him and his girlfriend got everything packed up, ready to go. And fortunately, they don't have to go anywhere. But I think, will we see migration to Arizona? Nobody's migrating anywhere until they figure out their insurance claims, what they're going to do,
Right.
what they've lost. They're living in shelters right now. Airbnb is letting people stay some places for free. If they're going to rebuild, it takes 2 to 3 years. There's a lot to sort out in California. Now, whether or not that, we saw an exodus in the Napa Valley when they had all those fires. We did see an increase in buyer activity here,
Okay.
but that was 1 2 years out. So it right now it's just affecting people's psyche, and as they sit back and look at California and go, "Oh man, now what?" So I think there'll be some sellers that are sitting back going, "Yep, we'll get some California buyers," and I'm like, don't bet the farm on that yet.
Yeah. I was watching a CNBC interview yesterday. They were talking to the Redfin CEO, and he's saying, I guess there was one property. It didn't make sense at first. I had to watch it a few times, and they said there was like a property that went up for rent, and they had 1,000 calls within like the first hour. So the demand out there for housing is huge, and people that were having their house on the market or planning on putting their house on the market, now they're going to sit back and say, I'm just going to hold on to this thing because I can rent it now real easily at top prices. So
Rent's
yeah, we
rent's gonna. That's why people left Napa Valley. Rent got way out of control. I had a buyer come
yeah
down from there. She goes, "We can't rent anymore. It's 2,900 a month." She said, "I figure I can buy in Arizona." And I saw one of the Altman brothers. One of those TV real estate
yeah
guys. He
yeah
said they normally do list $150 million in homes over the course of a month on his team, right?
yeah.
And they're already there after 1 week. And these aren't people directly affected right there at the fire, but people in California in general are going, "I'm out."
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
I
a
just
it's a hot mess and it's a political mess.
Yeah, and I don't even want to go to the political piece of this equation. So, all right, so I'm going to start asking you some questions. So I figured this year I'm going to get a little more technical.
Okay.
I'm going to try to stump you. All right, I'm just going to
Oh,
scroll
go easy
down.
on me. I'm an old man.
Well, let's talk about this. My number 8 question was, how's the insurances, and I already had these pre-filled out before we even, well, last week when I emailed you. Um, what are you seeing? Because I want to talk about insurance because your video, I think it was this morning, you were spot on, and your comment is before you even reach out to me to get pre-qualified, you got to check and see the area that you're looking at. What is the homeowner's insurance going to cost you? Because
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
you had some data that you provided in a recent video. Can you go over that with us?
Well, the people are getting hit with like 30% increases in their insurance, and it's not going to help that. I mean, just because this only happened in California, I mean, it's going to affect
It's everywhere.
everybody. It's going
Yeah.
to affect that farm in Kansas. And what I wanted to stress to buyers is when you find that house, because you've got time now. It used to be you go look at the house and we're at the agent and you go, "Yeah, I want it." You got to make the decision in the driveway. So if you got that house and you like it, um, before you write the contract, call your insurance agent and go, "Hey, 123 Main Street, can you give me a rough idea what the insurance is going to cost here?" Because if you've paid for the inspection, you have a 10-day inspection period. So if you've paid for the inspection and you got past that at the end of the 10 days, it's hard for you to get out of the contract at that point, except for a financing contingency. And so most, guys like you end up calling them after the inspection period and going, "Hey, don't forget I need that insurance binder."
Yeah.
And so you don't want sticker shock then. You want it ahead of time. You want to go, "Ooh, I didn't see that
And
coming.
and it is sticker shock. We've had several people buying in Florida, and they come back, and it's, I usually anticipate 150, $200 a month for insurances. Not anymore. I mean, I
Yep.
don't even go out on a limb and try to guess it anymore, because some of these areas are they're doubling and tripling, and it's like, that's almost as much as your taxes at this point. So it is going to be detrimental. So the cost of housing everywhere. We didn't have that crash that a lot of people were expecting, but I look at the crash now is, this number of sales just basically deteriorated to nothing, and now even if prices stagnate on homes, you're still having mortgage rate. And I want to talk to you about mortgage rates too, the Barry Habib, because you had him on last year, and I just want to talk to you about his estimates for 2025. But the cost of housing just keeps going up and up and up, and a lot of people are saying, okay, I'll sit and rent. Well, all these costs are getting passed through on your rent as well.
Oh
So
yeah.
that prompts me to this. You had Barry Habib on. God bless you, man. I don't know how you pulled that one off. You got to help me get that one. But he came on. He recently came out with some forecasts for 2025, and the guy's brilliant. And I have no, I'm not bashing you, Barry. So if you're out there, I'm on your side. But he came out and he's expecting mortgage rates to be at 5.75 to about 5.875, not by the end of 2025, but within the next like 3 to 4 months. I keep trying to find the data. Am I missing something here that he might be seeing that I'm just completely missing? Because I dive into all these numbers, and like I said, he's not doing this to promote himself or what. He's already the grand poobah, all this stuff. So what's your take on rates? I know you're not I should be the
Boy,
guy you're asking me, but am I missing something?
that's a tough pill to swallow. I mean, he may be right, and I would be just. I mean, if
Oh,
he's right, I will be shocked. My video is going to have a thumbnail like this.
yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
it's it just I can't. Again, I don't see the catalyst for that. I mean,
Yeah.
rates go down when you're in recession territory. But the other thing and I didn't hear what he said. I didn't read or anything about. I mean, I knew it was out there, but I don't know. It
Yeah.
seems to me like he's saying 5.875, but I mean, isn't our debt getting in the way? I mean, it's just there's so much. We've got all this debt, these treasury bills that were borrowed short term, less than a year, that are resetting in 2025, and
Yeah.
they have to be paid off and refinanced at a much higher rate. So I think that's going to put pressure for guys like you out there, trying to,
Sure.
find a decent rate. It's draining things. So, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't get that.
It's a
There was
very
another guy.
optimistic view. He said we were
Yeah.
going to be 5.5 when I had him on, and he didn't hit that number.
Yeah. Well, there's another guy I watch on YouTube too, and he's saying the same thing. And that's why I keep digging in and digging in and digging in, asking, trying to figure out, I watch Wall Street every, I'm inundated with all this stuff. But if you guys are out there watching us, this isn't a conversation. This isn't a channel where Rick and I just talk for an hour and you guys listen. Please contribute. Do you have any questions for Rick, myself? We can answer questions on interest rates, the housing market out in Arizona, specifically that's Rick's forte. Rick helps buyers in the Arizona markets. So please ask any questions that you guys have. That's why we do this video. So Pat, if you can bring up the first question, let's get to it. I don't know what do you know. Did you say Redskins, or are they talking about? I don't know who said Redskins. So
Yeah,
don't know. Let's get to the next one.
Are there any Arizona cities with affordable housing options for people buying their first home? Not many. Tucson's, not any more affordable than the Phoenix area. It gets really bad when you get up to Flagstaff. The average home up there is $660K. Even looking around the Colorado River, where it gets impressively hot, I'm not seeing any great bargains there. 'Cause a lot of people from California went there, so it doesn't leave a lot. It leaves you some homes up in the mountainous areas like Payson, Pine, Strawberry, or going up to the vacation areas of where people like to go in the summertime to Pine Top and Show Low. The short answer is no. There's some neighborhoods here where you could probably find some deals, but then again, you probably wouldn't want to live in those neighborhoods. So I wish there was. I wish I could say, I'd go right here. We have affordable housing. It's a problem everywhere.
Got it. So that's again. So do you have the data? Well, it's probably too premature. We talked about it briefly. I'm still trying to get to the point because a lot of people are going to be watching this video and they're going to say, well, Rick just said inventory's spiking. It's very tough to afford homes, especially now with the insurances and so forth. So that concludes the housing prices. If rates aren't going to go down, the house prices have to go down at some point. Do they?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't anticipate a monumental crash. And I think, but here's what I'm seeing now. We
Okay.
have been averaging about, I'm just kind of stare at my spreadsheet here, about 2,500 to 2,700 new listings coming on every 7 days. Okay. So they have to be gobbled up. And they were getting bought up by about 2,400 every 7 days. So the 300 home gap. So our total listings were going up, 200 to 300 a week, not much. Well, today I'm looking at a 926 unit gap between new listings that are out there, which is now 3,300, and new contracts still stuck at 2,461. Now, if that continues, we're going to be knocking on doors of like 26,000, 27,000 listings in Arizona. And I mean, just in my market, not all of Arizona. And that's what they consider, average or normal. But there is pricing pressure on the downside. Where we're seeing it now, we see a lot of price reductions come in. People are still kind of asking too much. But we're seeing 51% of the homes are giving buyer concessions to the tune of 10 grand.
Got it.
That's pretty
We're
big
seeing,
deal.
we're seeing a lot of concessions here. Almost every contract that comes in, there is at least the sellers are paying, and guess what fee they're paying in most cases? It's the realtor fees, that NARS settlement that went through last year, where the buyers have to now. And here's people yell at me when I say this. The buyers in today's market, they're basically responsible to pay the realtor fee now. And a lot of people say, no, that's not true. That's not the facts, because the seller can still pay it. Well, yeah, the seller can pay it, but it is the obligation now, right at this point, right? If you're getting a realtor, they need to be compensated somehow, some way by the buyer. So why do I get a lot of grief from people when they're like, no, the buyers don't have to pay the realtor? And I get legally they don't, but
they don't. What was required is we have to say, hey, look, here's my fee. We have to say up front. Okay, so we have to have an agreement with the buyer. Now, you write it and you go, okay, my fee is 2%, 2.5%, 3%, whatever it is. It's all over the map. But they want the buyer to know up front. Now, the buyer makes a decision if they're going to pay it or not when you get into a contract. So we haven't seen that part change. Sellers are still offering compensation to buyers' agents. So the buyers, for the most part, are saying, okay, I really don't want to pay that. So let's ask all we can for the seller to do that. Cause it gets financed into the loan and put into the price of the house. And so that part hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed is that stupid form. That's it. So it hasn't changed anything. And so now if you get and a seller doesn't want to pay the 2.5, then, you go back to your buyer and go, well, they don't want to pay it. And 9 times out of 10, the buyer's going to say, well, then I don't want the house.
Got it. So do you not have to do that at the initial, like before you start taking people out? Or is
there's two different forms.
Yeah,
there's one that's a permission to show form, which is, look, I'm going to show you homes. You're not obligated to anything, but if we find a home, this is my fee. So before we go to a house. There are some realtors that are lying to their people coming into open houses, telling them they have to sign that form at the open house. Not true. Never was.
Okay.
But you're also not obligated to me. I saw a question come up there in California. I'll jump in there again quick. Pat,
bring that last one up, please.
When you are obligated is when you're actually in a contract. Now you're obligated. We got to sign an agency agreement, which is essentially the same wording, but now I have a fiduciary duty with you. So Dan, if I'm going to show you homes this weekend, you can sign an agreement with me that's only good for the weekend.
Okay. Got it.
Kind of a pain in the butt if we're going to go out next weekend, but
Right.
even if you signed an agreement with me, let's say for 3 months, and this is where the buyers are very confused. They think that they're up. I'm stuck with Rick. Well, you're not. Dan, you can go sign one of those with Jackie. You could sign one with Ruby, Jessica. You can have 4 of those agreements in your hand. Okay. So you're not obligated to just because all that form says is if you're working with Rick, here's what he charges. That's all it says. And so some
So
people
I
are
can
thinking,
sign, yeah, I can sign multiple agreements with multiple realtors.
absolutely, showing agreements. Yes. Yep.
Got it. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I kind of like it. I don't like the form. I think it's kind of dumb, but look, it's like you don't want to go on the first date and have to bring an engagement ring. So, you don't want that first trip out with a realtor and you got to be obligated to them. You
Yeah,
got to
no, I
like
get it.
me first.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's what I tell
uh,
people all the time with mortgages. I'm like, when they watch my videos and things like that, it's like, please schedule a consultation or call us. You need to know who we are, what we do. Are we on the same wavelength? Because there's a lot that's going to go on during this transaction. So I always strive for people. Don't just click, 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 and you're trying to find the best rate in the world and everything else. Make sure you like who you're dealing with, and you have they have competence.
yeah.
Are they working with enough lenders? Do they have the products? Are they in your neck of the woods and things like that? So, well, let's get to a couple questions down here so we don't have the people waiting. So, guys, start loading up your questions. Rick and I will start shooting through these, and then him and I will chat if we don't have any questions available. So, please ask your questions. We can go through those now. So, right through here, do you anticipate the California fires to impact the national housing market in regards to prices and building material? I never thought about the building material. Good.
Well,
That's a good
it's
question.
12 to 15,000 structures right now. It's not like you're going to see them all.
Oh,
Hammers aren't
really?
going to be swinging here anytime soon.
Yeah.
So, those are mostly commodity driven prices anyway. I think what we'll see here locally is probably a labor shortage because the work's going to be out there and they're
I get
probably
it.
going to have to pay a lot more once that construction starts, and they'll have to get those resources from somebody, and it's easy to be the states like Nevada and Arizona where the construction workers go to. So I think we'll see more of that than we will
Gotcha.
an increase in the building
Yeah.
materials costs.
Interesting. I didn't even look at it that way. All right. Next question is you. This is all you because I don't know what they're talking about when they get Victory. Is Victory getting any more reasonable? It must be a
Oh
city.
boy, YouTube. That's my favorite YouTube name too. Victory, New York.
Oh, I have no clue what that is. I don't know anything about Victory in New York. Do you, Rick?
No, YouTube. Let me
Right.
know if am I missing the
Yeah.
wrong
No,
name there. I don't think
you're
we have
getting
a
the same
Victory,
thing.
Arizona. If we do, I'm shocked. But
All right.
um, I was just at Victory. They're digging. The builders are digging their heels in. Um,
Yeah, not sure where that is.
oh, here's Ken. Hi, Ken. Look, the property Overguard. This is up in the White Mountain area.
Mhm.
High fire danger region. Oh, Verado. Okay, yes, yeah, they're Verado. That's out. That's way out in the West End. I'd have to ask Ruby about that. YouTube. I don't get out there that much. But Kenny, you're saying we looked the property up around Overguard, and State Farm would not write a policy. We are customers of 40 years. I'm expecting you to see some of that in Overguard, Sholo, Pine Top, Payson, and Prescott and Flagstaff. Those are our fire zones. And so that's going to be a problem when viewing homes in southern.
I
Go
was
ahead,
we
Dan.
just I just closed we just closed on a home, not me, but a client of ours, actually two out in California area, uh, south of where the fires are. It was brutal to get insurance. I had to go through He went through all the majors, State Farm, Allstate, and all that. Nobody would insure him. Then we had to end up going with an insurance broker that finally found him a policy. But it's devastating. So here's a question I got, for the gentleman that just asked that question. What do they do if somebody has to insure this stuff, right? I mean, is there I don't know anything about insurance, so
Yeah, I
this
mean,
is
State
this is a
Farm
lot new
kicked you
to
to the
me.
curb. Did you get another option? I don't know.
Yeah. So like people in the California area, in your area, the places with high fire density, how do you get insurance? I'm assuming there has to be some kind of government entity or something that will cover something. I mean, because a lot of these, I don't blame a lot of these insurance companies from saying, we're not going to cover, these specific areas, because it's just repeat, it's like repeat, build,
Yeah, like
repeat,
Florida.
build.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, the
Well,
hurricanes come through,
fire
blast
zones
them.
here in Arizona are pine trees. So if you don't have pine trees, you're not surrounded by national forest land like you are in Overgarden, Payson, and Flagstaff and stuff. You just drive through Flagstaff, you know it's dangerous fires up there. It happens every year. I went up camping up by Flagstaff, and we had fortunately the smoke was blowing east, but we could see it right from our campground. And you know how they have ready, set, go. Well, we got a
Yeah.
set order when we're in my RV. It's like, what the heck's a set order? Kept getting these
Get ready
text
to get the
messages.
hell out of there.
It when they start up there, man, they go. Chandler, Southern Gila, they in danger of wildfire? No, no. Within a mile Hunt Highway, there's nothing out there. There's some brush. Occasionally we'll get a little spot of brush come up. They run a truck down there and spit on it, and it goes out. It's unlike Southern California. They have a lot more shrubbery that can catch fire quite easily than we do out here. So no, Chandler. I've been here since '96, never seen a fire there. What are some challenges homeowners, buyers facing purchasing property in fire-prone regions to California? I don't know.
Yeah, I would, if you're looking to buy in the California regions, like Rick was saying, the first thing, don't even look to see if you can get pre-qualified, because that might even tick you off even more. First off, see if you can get insurance, and is that insurance affordable? Because if it's coming in, $10,000 a year, trying to fit that into your housing budget's going to be really tough, especially with the way prices of homes are going and interest rates as well. So yeah, there is Kevin actually just brought up we'll go to Prescott. What about Prescott prices? I don't know about Prescott either. You can take all these.
They're expensive. They are expensive. They had some
500,000.
building restrictions a few years ago because they were having some water pressures. They don't have as many aquifers up there like we do down here, and it's an incredibly desirable area. It's beautiful up there. If I could afford it, I'd be living in Prescott. I mean, it's one of my favorite places, but it's pricey.
So now this brings up reventure capital. Somebody's Kevin is asking, hey Rick, on reventure capital, the real estate market, it seems like a lot of fear mongering. Well, if you go back, I'll just let's just look. Rick, just give me a facial expression. When I say the reventure capital, the young man, he's brilliant. I'll put it that way. He's absolutely brilliant, because he took this kind of fictitious theme thing, and he became a millionaire by it, and he has all these people behind him kind of following suit. So if you're not familiar with reventure capital or consulting, it's a young kid that came out probably 4 years ago now, maybe, Rick, and just kept saying the market's going to crash. California down 80%. The whole country is going to be worse than it's ever been, ever. He's been wrong for like 4 years in a row, but his channel keeps just blowing up. And I think people just love the it's like the fires. It's hard not to click on a thumbnail or whatever that has all these fires going, because that's what people are attracted to. But reventure capital, that's why I was asking you, do you think your market will see 20, 30, 40% reductions in prices to get rid of this stuff?
I just shared a screen. Can we pop that up there real quick?
Where is it?
I'm not
sure.
I think your bus driver can probably do that for you there. It's his channel. Now we pick on him. It's easy because he just hasn't been right.
No, but he's making, tons of money. I know somebody who knows him that actually saw some financials, and it's crazy. It's just crazy. And I talked to somebody last night, and they asked me, they're like, it's really confusing with all these crash videos and everything. I said, just do me a huge favor. And everybody watching this video, we'll leave it at this, because I don't like talking about these subjects anymore. Go back to not Nick at Reventure. Go back to the other ones. There's probably 4 or 5 of these guys out there. They're doing fantastic. Go back to their videos from like 3-4 years ago. They did really good videos that at that time. They were educational, informative, and they'd get about 100 or 200 views. But then when they started the bandwagon of the market's going to crash, these guys went to the moon, and they're making so much money now on YouTube, they don't have to sell houses anymore. So that's
If
why
I have a
most of them are doing
thumbnail
it.
with a nuclear explosion, my videos double. My views double.
Yeah. Same here. If you put a fire up, you're going to get tons of videos. If you put, a house blowing up, but then I posted a video yesterday talking about 5 fantastic programs that people should look into when they're buying their first house. I think I got 300 views, and I usually get, say, 10,000 or something like that. So it's like, do you want to know the information, or do you just want the shock and awe? So it is what it is.
Well, look, to be fair, I don't predict out where I think the year is going to go because I don't know.
Right.
All
I don't
I
either.
can tell you
Yeah.
where the quarter's going to go because the numbers are already in, the trend is already there. And nothing crashes without a huge excess in supply. And if you have an excess in supply and sales are not following, you will have pricing reductions. If it's severe, then you will have the, reventure consulting crash. Hasn't happened. He's actually predicting this year for us to be up 1%. What changed? What happened? I mean, he went down
Now,
from,
this is
I'm
the
looking,
year I'm expecting houses to basically do nothing, and he's coming back saying they're going to appreciate. So,
yeah.
you know,
But
here,
I'm looking at all these thumbnails here, down 30, down 40, down 50, worst cities, mass sell-off. So it's got, if you're going to look and you're trying to figure out where something's trending, then just simply look at supply and demand. And if there's a big gap between the two, you don't have to be, Berkshire Hathaway to know that you're going to have some, some softening of prices. It's just, that's
right.
all it is. I don't care if you're talking houses, cars, tulips. That's all it is. And so
I
if you have financing costs going through the roof, then it lowers your pool of buyers and inventory grows. If you have inventory shrinking and everybody wants that house, then prices go up.
Yeah, I'm with you. I
That's
keep
all I
pleading
track.
that every day to everybody. I'm like, unless you have a, so what happened is just to give some context of what happened. Here's what somebody asked me, yesterday or the day before
Yeah, I want to go
about,
back to that
how the,
question from Janet again too when you get a
oh,
chance.
okay. Is like Rick was saying, you have to have excess, like a massive excess supply of homes. And so let me just revert back to what truly happened in like 2000, basically started in 2000, and then it peaked at like 2006, 7, is there was things called Nina loans. Okay. No
Yeah.
income, no assets. Okay. That was the start of the implosion of housing. Okay, so basically what it was is if you had a 620 credit score, you can get an 80% first mortgage and a 20% second mortgage. So basically finance the entire thing. Okay, most of the first mortgage programs were on teaser rates that were adjustable rates, and they had optional payments. So the options you could pay your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, or you can pay interest only, or you can pick a payment. There was negative amortization, all these other things. What would happen is there was a teaser rate and all these pickup payments, but after like 3 or 4 years, your payment would actually adjust, and you would get the payment, the interest rate, and the full payment that you were expected to pay. So
Yeah.
a lot of people saw their house price or house payments triple. I'm not only talking doubling, I'm
Oh
talking
yeah.
tripling. And then it got to the point where house prices stagnated. So the people couldn't do anything. So they were already financed to the hilt. So as soon as prices stopped increasing like the way they were, people were stuck. And then they're like, okay, well, now I can't afford these payments. I got to refinance. Well, you couldn't refinance because that time you owed 100% on your house. You can't do 100% financing other than those crap loans. So people start piling on and just selling houses, walking away from houses, foreclosures, keys for cash, everything and anything. So you had this massive supply of homes everywhere in the whole country. And that's what happened. So now you have these pockets of areas that are coming in that's saying, okay, parts of Florida might be really tough off because of the hurricanes. Now you have California, like we're talking about right now, Rick, it's going to be tough in a lot of these areas. So you have to understand what happened in the past, because a lot of these crashers, they basically say, well, look, in 2008, home prices went so high. Well, they had to come back down. That's not the truth.
That's not,
So
no.
that's
Yeah.
basically
Just
the
because you're
truth of
driving
what
the car
happened.
fast doesn't mean you're going to crash every time.
Right. Yeah. Good.
So
So, okay, you wanted to grab another one?
yeah, Janet says, do you anticipate we'll eventually see more people aim towards FSBO for sale by owner? I've had my house for sale for 3 months, had 2 visitors. Realtors do not seem to be motivated. Short answer is no. When you do go for sale by owner, you lose all your exposure. I mean, when we put something in the multiple listing service, even if we do that and take a nap, you're going to show up on every website known to man. You're going to be on Zillow, Truly, or Redfin, Realtor.com. And real estate's all about price and exposure. So the most motivated real estate agent is also severely limited on what they can do outside of just emailing out your listing to as many realtors as they can. I'll give an example. I had a real estate listing in Sun Lakes, and she priced too high, and nobody was coming to look at it, and she was getting pretty upset with me. I want you to post it in the Sun Lakes Facebook group. I said, okay. Well, it's only going to show up for a day, and then it's just going to scroll down the feed. Nobody will see it again. So unless I sit there and post it every day, but then keep in mind the only people that see it are the people that actually already live in Sun Lake. So, but they'll tell their friends and neighbors. If once we lowered the price, we started getting traffic. So it's unfortunately it is all about price. If you've only had 2 visitors in 3 months, I hate to tell you, it's not because it's not on the MLS. If you've got great pictures, then if you got lousy pictures, yeah, that's going to hurt you. But if you got great pictures and a great price, you'll get traffic. You got to look at all your competition. So if you were going to go FSBO, you're lowering your odds, and especially because go FSBO, you can actually. It's funny, the rule changes. If you're going for sale by owner, you actually get to say, hey, I'm paying you, buyer's agent 2.5%. I don't get to say that anywhere online. I can tell you if you call me, but no. Short answer is I don't see that. I think what I am seeing an increase on since the rule change is open house traffic, because people are confused about that showing agreement with the agent. Like I said, they think they got to get married to him first. So now they're going directly to the house. And then they'll say, okay, then I'll get my realtor later. So we're seeing a lot of that.
Got it. Here's a question we're getting a lot of. Marshall Smith, if you can pull up that question, it's kind of down at the bottom. But a lot of people that own properties right now pulling out money. I have three consultations this evening for people looking to pull out money to either rehab their home or buy a rental property. I haven't seen this much euphoria in this in quite some time. It seemed like right after the election, a lot of movement started happening on our end. Usually we're sitting here bored to death in January. Our market here, as soon as Super Bowl finishes, the phones start to really, really ring. I did want to bring up a point about the FSBO piece. It's like what Rick and I are doing right now. We're on YouTube, okay, and we're casting a huge net. So what I used to do, here's how I used to advertise. I was on Christian radio for 15 years. I had a show. It was in Chicago, one of the biggest channels in Chicago. It did fantastic. It was very expensive. And during COVID, I had to basically do everything myself, from production to editing and everything else. So I'm like, well, I got to do everything, and I'm paying $80,000 a year anyways. I'm just going to start doing this myself. So I started podcasting and YouTubing, got a much bigger net, and I don't have that huge cost on top of me. And look how many, basically we're hitting the whole country right now, if not the whole world. I know people in the whole world aren't watching me and Rick, but I was before we went live.
We got some fans in Italy. So.
Do we? Hey, maybe my folks. Guys, I apologize about the behind me, the glare today. This is my office I'm at today. And, everybody wants that windowed office, and I don't, because of this is what happened. So sorry about that. Sorry about my glare today. And then let's get to, there's another one on 2-1 buy downs. If you can bring that up. Rick, do you have, when you're doing purchases, do you have any of your buyers taking advantage of the 1-1 or 2-1 or 3-2-1 programs?
Very, very few.
Yeah, it can be costly. Before I jump into it, what we do, how it works is the seller or the builder has to contribute the funds to go into this account. But we're not seeing really much in 2-1 buy downs anymore. What people are using most of their credits for, if they are getting seller credits, is just closing costs. Closing costs can be crazy. How's your title fees out in your neck of the woods?
They're
The
not
the
bad.
the S
They're not bad.
they're
I
not
haven't
bad.
seen them. Yeah. Yeah.
Florida, terrible. Texas, expensive. New York, crazy. So again, those are other areas before you go to buy. Reach out to us. We actually we'll provide consultations for people, one-on-one consultations for people if you want it. Before you start, really diving into buying that first house, we'd rather talk to you so we could do kind of like Rick and I are doing. We go over it. You vet us. You talk to us. Do we know what we're talking about? Do we have the programs? Are we in the states that facilitate where you're looking to buy? And then we start moving forward to helping you. So I don't know, Pat. Do we have a link down there? I don't know if I created a link where people can schedule consultations with me or Alan or Dave. Not sure if we have that at this time, but I'm not sure. So if you want to schedule a consultation with us, there it is. You can just go to right there, or you can just go to our website, therateupdate.com. Right on the top of the screen, there is a consultation up there. So I just want to let you guys aware of that. Is there any other questions out there that are lingering for
There's
anybody?
there's one on there on question
Yeah.
about Avondale. It says, I've been looking at the Avondale area. I'm from out of state, Palm Desert, California. I'll be there next week. Going to go visit my brother. How is insurance and property tax in the area? So I'm pulling up a $375,000 house in Avondale right now, and it shows me that the taxes on there are, where is it? Scroll. Talk amongst yourselves. Are 1,800, 1,800 annually. So
Taxes.
they're pretty low. Now, what would taxes be in Chicago for 375,000?
Add a zero to that, and that would be your yearly taxes. And I'm not kidding you.
Yeah, New York was pretty brutal, and California was pretty brutal, but no, they're low.
Yeah.
So it's that's part of the attractiveness of this market over here is taxes, and so. But where you really got to watch too, though, is HOA fees. They get a little out of
Yeah.
control. They're not prohibitively expensive, but sometimes you'll run into some that are just, stupid.
Yeah, no, I get it. The nice thing about that, mine in the place I have down in Florida, it doubled. It doubled. So,
Oh,
and that mostly is just because of the insurances. So, yeah, it's brutal out there, but it's what we do for a living, and what I've done for it's tomorrow. Tomorrow, January 15th, I will be doing this for a total of 36 years. 36 years of my life I've spent doing mortgages. So
wow.
that's how I got gray down here.
Yeah, I went gray for a lot of different reasons. The fraction of LA property tax, another reason to move. Give us a holler if you're coming out in that area. Ruby knows
Yeah.
Avondale very well. So
So,
if you
so
need any
Rick, for
help out
anybody,
there, give us a
yeah,
holler.
anybody,
So,
anybody watching, where can you help them? What's your demographic area that you're looking to help buyers in?
well, it's interesting. I got the whole valley covered, Dan, and I'm doing it with the referrals. I don't refer to anybody unless I know them and I know how they go about business. So, in other words, I moved my license with Jessica, and she's just one house broker. She's the hardest work I've ever seen in my life, and she does a lot of the East Valley for me and Tucson.
Awesome.
Out on the West End, Jackie and Ruby helped me down in like Avondale, Litchfield, Goodyear, Peoria. Surprise, Jackie lives up there. North Central Phoenix got a couple agents that help me out there. Stephanie and Bryce Lugo. They're all with different brokerages. So because
That's
I don't
amazing.
I don't really restrict myself that way. I just want to know, if I
Somebody
like how they
good.
go about business and they're honest and
Exactly.
they know what they're doing. Like Ruby just got $12,500 in concessions from the seller on her last close for one of our buyers. She's really good at that, and she knows the area. So I'm really happy when I get to refer things out to these agents. So it it keeps me. I show very few homes on my own. I do it every once in a while. If somebody personally asks me and says I'd like you to show, I no doubt I go out and do that. And but I have, like I say, a very strong referral network. And we were talking earlier before we got on here, and I let you know I've got some funny health stuff coming up. It's probably going to lay me up for a week or two in February, but it won't slow me down.
Prayers with you.
Yeah, thank
Prayers
you.
with
Got
you, my
some
friend.
cancer treatment, and it's not major, so but it's going to interrupt some things, but only for probably about 2 days. So if anybody wants to see a home, I just go, okay, hey Jessica, take this. Ruby, take this. Nothing will really change. I may look a little more gaunt when I get on here. I
You're
got,
one handsome fella, Buster. So
yeah,
just
yeah.
as for me, so if you're watching me from Rick's channel, my name is Dan Frio. I actually do videos every day. I usually do an opening bell, what the market's doing. With we focus in on real estate, but I also want you to learn finances. We talk about the equity markets and the how bonds are related to interest rates and so forth. So I'm licensed in all 50 states as well as Puerto Rico, and that's kind of odd. And so I'm a broker and I'm also a banker. Let me explain to you. I work at ServBank. ServBank's the number 10 largest servicer in the entire country. So we are huge. The benefit is we're also a large mortgage brokerage. So I'm set up with over 30 different lenders. So how does this work? Well, you reach out to me because I'm licensed in all 50 states as well as Puerto Rico. And my slogan for 2025 is this: one application, one credit pool, and we're going to shop your loan to 30 plus different lenders. And that's what helps us on the broker side. So a lot of people are like, Dan, what do you do? How do you do things? And so forth. That's what we do. So it should be no matter where in the country you live, I should be able to help you. And we're also going to be really competitive on rates, programs, and everything else. The one thing I want to strive for you guys to think about is don't be awed on the rate alone. The rates, people are promising you rates out there that are fantastic, but can they deliver? Do they have the programs? Are they going to call you back and so forth? Just kind of like with Rick with real estate, he has a team behind him. I also have a team behind me, and we'd love to help you navigate home buying in 2025. So Rick, I want to just say thanks to you. Yeah, have any concluding words of thought for us, wisdom buddy? If not, God bless you with all your treatments that you have coming
Yeah,
up. Please
yeah,
stay in
no
touch.
wisdom
I'll be
coming out of me. Oh, thank you, everybody.
so everybody, if everybody could give Rick put him in your prayers, if you would, I greatly appreciate that. And we will be back. Rick's a friend of mine as well, so we'll be back in the future. As soon as he gets healthy again, we'll have him back on and let us know how all that stuff went, and then he'll give us his update on how Arizona is looking for 2025. So thanks for watching, folks.
Good to be
Greatly
with you
appreciate
again,
it.
Dan. Thank you.
And Rick will have all your information down below. So if anybody wants to reach out to you, everything will be down there for you, buddy. So God bless, man. Take care. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. And folks, if you need any help with anything, please reach out to us. We'd love to help.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks, pal.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
See ya.